So, again, for the Commonwealth Attorney position, I believe I need to give a little intro, which is the Commonwealth Attorney, of course, is the top prosecutor for your jurisdiction. And that elected official will have an office of assistants and deputies to help manage the office. And the idea is that it's a very important position that has a lot of power and discretion with it. Because ultimately, you are the person who chooses who is to be prosecuted for what crimes and what crimes you will go forward on. And in some instances, even recommending what the sentence may be. So when we look at these questions that we have here tonight, some of them can pertain to the Commonwealth Attorney's role. So for example, when we talk about the environment, there are rules and regulations that are on our books, more so under the federal regulations and not so much on our Code of Virginia. But certainly as the top law enforcement officer, you're bound to raise your hand and swear to uphold the laws. So to the extent that there are laws for the Code of Virginia that address issues of pollution and regulation, then absolutely, as Commonwealth Attorney, I will make sure that that happens. I know that specifically in Henrico County, we do deal with issues that stem from the landfill in the eastern part of the county, and there are some issues as to whether or not the county has any proprietary interest in the James River, but certainly to the extent that there are people who contribute to the pollution, who are companies that are in the county, then of course we would absolutely 100% make sure that they do follow the rules, because we all know that our natural resources are the fundamental aspects of our beautiful Commonwealth. When we talk about immigration, that actually can affect two parts. It can affect our labor individuals as well as the people themselves. We know that when it comes to people of labor and unions, we know that sometimes they are affected by certain contractors who do try to get around and use illegal immigrants to perhaps maybe avoid paying certain taxes. And to that end, we want to go after some of the contractors and subcontractors who are really misusing these immigrants in that capacity. But as to the individual themselves, and for those people who are here illegally, we are a country that's constantly in flux with that situation. What we do know is that there has been a proposal about whether or not you can actually go up to somebody and speak to them, and without knowing any idea and demanding to see their license. That is not a law as of right now on the books of the Code, for the Code of Virginia, for the Commonwealth. And so what I believe that we need to do as the head prosecutor is we need to be mindful of our constitutional rights that may or may not be affected by certain local regulations. To the extent that there's anything that is passed by the Board of Supervisors on the county level, as the top prosecutor, again, I have an ethical obligation to make sure that that is not a violation of constitutional rights. So to that end, we need to make sure that we are not abusing the constitutional rights of those individuals. But then again, we also need to be mindful that for those people who aren't here legally, we need to figure out a way of how to get them to be here legally, whether it be here on a green card, if they're here on a student visa, and make sure that we follow the rules that we actually have on our books. When we talk about progressive values to promote social justice and economic fairness and good government, that should be the core of any government official in whatever capacity. And of course, when you have a foundation based on sound judgment and principles, and particularly my passion, which has been for my commitment to the criminal justice system for 15 years, 12 of which has been as a prosecutor, my passion for doing the right thing, I think, will always promote what is the goal for the Alliance for Progressive Values. Doing the right thing will always promote the social justice that we have our county based upon. When it comes to the women's issues, again, we're talking about something about trying to figure out whether or not we can enforce certain rules and regulations. Particularly this has to deal with whether or not other organizations will be affected. Again, unless we're talking about trespass or anything of that nature, the Commonwealth Attorney's Office would not be so much involved in that. But clearly, the idea to make sure our citizens are safe is still paramount. When it comes to the equality issue, I can't think of anything that's more important than making sure that everybody is treated the same, regardless of race, religion, sexual identity, anything of that nature. And what I can tell you is that one of the things I've been proposing is certainly a county office that represents the county. And to the extent that there are any people, that gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, who wish to apply for employment in the office, everyone's going to get an equal opportunity, because I want to make sure that I have the best office, the most diverse office to the extent that it represents the entire county, but it's going to be filled with the best people, regardless, again, of gender identity, religious issues, anything of that nature. When we talk about, and that goes into the bullying aspect too with the schools, I know that one of my issues I'd like to support is going to be crime prevention, in addition to trying to address the issues of crime on the backside, talking about crime on the front side. And what we know is that bullying is a real issue in our schools, and particularly bullying for those struggling youths who are trying to figure out their sexual identity. It's hard enough being a teenager nowadays than having to deal with other issues of, size and how your feelings are for people. So we need to protect the children, and to that extent, I would work, and hopefully this gentleman right here, being the chairman of the school board, I can't think of any greater pleasure than working with Lamont to help protect all of the children, regardless of their identity. And I will say that I do have family members. Two of my family members are lesbians, and I embrace the idea of choice, and I do support 100% the marriage between any two individuals who choose to, and congratulations, as we spoke earlier. And the idea of discriminating on any basis just should not be tolerated. This is a great United States, this is a great county of Henrico, and we just need to continue to move forward as one entity together. So, and the last issue is the civil rights restoration. We know that Delegate Joe Morrissey has been working tirelessly in the General Assembly about the restoration of rights for felons. And I 100% support the idea of felon restoration. My understanding is that Virginia and Kentucky were the last two states in the United States that even addressed the issue of felon restoration. And I was very fortunate to attend the seminar, the lecture by Professor Alexander, who wrote her thesis on mass incarceration, the new Jim Crow, and the idea that we are building a discriminatory class of felons. Again, being the chief prosecutor, you are the gatekeeper, and you can try to figure out some ways. Like I said before, it's an easy decision when bad people do bad things. It's easy to put them in jail. The tough things are trying to figure out what you do with good people. And I can tell you, as Commonwealth Attorney, I would like to bring some freshness into that office, some fresh perspectives, some fresh ideas, and come up with the best office this county can have. Thank you so much.